Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Honest Texan Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and I am a Texan that tries to be honest. So with that said, we're going to get into the subject of H.R. 1808. In a previous episode that I did, I discussed the assault weapons ban bill that was sponsored by Representative David Cicilline, I think. I forget his name, but he's a Democrat out of Rhode Island who has sponsored this bill, and it went through the House committee, and it went through a committee, and then it just passed the House by a vote of 217 for yes and 213 for no. A lot of thoughts, but when it goes to the Senate, and if the Senate somehow votes yes, then it goes to the president to sign, and somehow an unconstitutional bill becomes a unconstitutional law. Yeah, it is unconstitutional. But again, let's just listen in, shall we? It's a C-SPAN.
The House today passed an assault weapons ban by a near party line vote of 217 to 213. 5 Democrats voted with Republicans against the bill, including Wisconsin's Ron Kind, while 2 Republicans voted yes, New York's Chris Jacob and Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania. The bill outlaws semi-automatic assault weapons as well as large-capacity ammunition feeding devices. The measure also provides grants to states and localities for gun buyback programs. Here's today's debate. It's just over 90 minutes.
Well, we're not going to listen to the whole debate, but I am going to let you hear a little bit of the opening statements from a representative. And then I'm going to give my thoughts, and then I'm going to, again, try to do a more thorough walkthrough of how to buy a gun or a rifle or whatever you want to call it these days.
Mr. Speaker, today we take another step to advance historic gun violence prevention legislation. H.R. 1808, the Assault Weapons Ban Act of 2022, restores and updates the prior assault weapons ban that kept weapons of war out of our communities for a decade before Republicans opposed its renewal. As we have learned all too well in recent years, assault weapons, especially when combined with high-capacity magazines, are the weapon of choice for mass shootings. These military-style weapons are designed to kill the most people in the shortest amount of time. Quite simply, there is no place for them in our streets. In 1994, we banned these killing machines, and countless lives were saved. But that ban was allowed to lapse 10 years later. And since then, we've seen the predictable results. Mass shootings have increased exponentially in our public spaces. Schools, movie theaters, supermarkets, houses of worship, parades, you name it, have
all gun-free zones, by the way.
all become vulnerable to attack. Uvalde, Parkland,
gun-free zones.
Tree of Life Synagogue.
Gun-free zone.
How many more mass shootings must we endure? When will we learn? Well, I hope we're starting to learn today. I hope we're starting to learn today, indeed. The assault weapons ban would prohibit the sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition feeding devices.
All guns.
At the same time, it grandfathers existing semi-automatic assault weapons and contains numerous protections for law enforcement and responsible gun owners, including hunters, gun collectors, farmers, sport shooters, and those who use firearms for self-defense. It is important to consider today's debate in the context of our other efforts to address the violence plaguing our communities. Time and again, Democrats have advanced responsible gun safety legislation only to face Republican opposition. We have advanced legislation to conduct background checks for all gun sales, to close the child.
Of course, he's a Democrat from New York. New York has a high gun violence stat, but whatever. They only have strict gun laws.
The loophole, to close the boyfriend loophole, and to keep guns away from those who are a danger to themselves or others.
As he said from his Eiffel Tower, or Ivory Tower, his Ivory Tower with his own security team, who has their own guns. Shocker.
We advanced my bill, the Protecting Our Kids Act, and we sent the President the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which are signed into law and will save lives. These proposals were opposed by all but a few of our Republican colleagues. Today, they have another chance to take the action needed to make our communities safer. Will they stand with us? Will they show that they have learned? Or will they stand with an industry that right now is promoting a weapon to civilians as powerful enough to shoot through bulletproof vests?
I'm just going to say this. You drink alcohol. You get drunk. You make a terrible decision of driving a car. You kill a whole bunch of people. Or you don't drink alcohol, but you get in the car and you still decide to kill a whole bunch of people. Do you ban the car? Do you jail the person? Do you ban alcohol? Well, they don't ban alcohol. And they don't ban the cars. But they do jail the person. But yet, person can shoot up a lot of different places. Fine. That's definitely terrible. But then you ban the weapon? Make it make sense.
Will our Republicans choose to defend the weapons of choice for mass murderers and those who seek to target law enforcement? Or will they choose to defend Americans who simply want to go to school, to go shopping, to march in a parade, or to go to a movie theater without the fear of having a target on their back?
So I guess we're not going to talk about the Indiana mall shooting that the guy shot and killed the assailant who was trying to do a mass shooting. Okay.
It's an easy choice for me. I want to thank Congressman.
Or I guess we're not going to talk about the shooting in Fort Worth or I forgot where, at the church where the guy did shoot and kill, I think, 2 people in the church, but he was taken out quickly by a firearms trainer, and I believe he might have been ex-military, and who was also a parishioner. Took him out one shot, about 10, 15 yards.
To Cellini for his leadership on this important
He saved multiple lives.
legislation. I urge all of my colleagues to join me in supporting it, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlemen from New York.
Okay, that's gonna be enough right there. I'm not gonna do any more of that. I'm just gonna say that's some BS in my opinion. So again, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take you through or at least walk through a way to, buying a gun. Then I'm gonna try to explain about these firearms. And again, I am not an expert on firearms. However, I wish I was. I am just a guy who has bought firearms in the past and know a little bit how they work. And I know a little bit how the process works. But again, if you want to know more about guns, I implore you to go educate yourself about guns, educate yourself about the state's laws when it comes to guns, all of that. Do your research about the NFA, the National Firearms Act, everything. Again, and also the FBI does do background checks on people who buy guns. But let me just walk through this real quick. Okay, so I am on one of my favorite sites. If not my favorite, it is my favorite, grabagun.com. Here we went to firearms, we go to semi-automatic handguns, and this is what we have right here. We're just going to do price because I like to buy cheap stuff for the most part. But we're going to go down here, we're going to go to the stock status, if it does it, because you see all these notified when in stock. Let's do in stock. And let's say you want to buy a 9mm handgun. All right, cool. Caliber. 9mm. See right here, 9mm. Right. All right. Let's say you want 8 rounds. No, typically, if you're very proficient in your firearms training, if you are a really good shooter, then yes, 8 rounds might be well for you. Might be do good for you. But if you're someone your average person just bought a firearm, you're gonna want to go a little bit higher because chances are you're gonna miss all 8 rounds. So we're gonna go 17. All right, so 17. These are the firearms. These are the handguns that show 17 rounds in 9mm or in the 9mm range. Taurus G3, Taurus, G3, American Tactical, TH9, my favorite. But let's go to the Taurus TH9 pistol, which is, I believe, the newer version of the Taurus PT809. Yeah. So this is a 9mm pistol. Has 17 rounds. All great reviews. There you go. Let's see. It is ambidextrous, so you have the safety on both sides of the gun. See, safety is on both sides. It is a good firearm to have, but if you don't have firearm experience, this is a good first gun, I believe. 17 rounds. Serial number. Oh, for when people say that there's no serial numbers on firearms, yeah, right up in here. Serial numbers, right on the barrel. So, what you're gonna do is you're gonna add it to cart. Then, of course, you're gonna proceed to checkout. And here we go. Now, an FFL dealer. FFL dealers, I forget the actual acronym definition, but these are the people that you're going to send the firearm to. Now, for Grab a Gun, you can just send it straight to their home office or their place where you can go pick it up there. Or you can send it to a pawn shop. You can send it to other dealers and go pick it up there. But you have to send it to a licensed FFL dealer. So you're going to choose a dealer or whatever. Then you're going to pay for the gun, and it'll be sent there to wherever you want to send it to. However, when you get there, you just do this in real time. FBI, shit, I forgot that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. FBI background check, yeah. Here we go. FBI background check. Identity history check. Background check now. Okay, let me just do this. FBI background check for firearms. Here we go. The NICS, National Instant Criminal Background Check System. This is what your name will go through when you purchase a firearm and when you actually go pick up the firearm, because before you go actually get the firearm in your hands, right, they're going to make you fill out a few forms. Make sure you're an American citizen, make sure that you're not a felon, and all this stuff. So these are what those forms are going to do, and this is what they're going to come back to. It says, when a person tries to buy a firearm, the seller, known as a federal firearms licensee, there you go, FFL, contacts the NICS electronically or by phone. The prospective buyer fills out the ATF form, and the FFL relays that information to the FBI or NICS. The NICS staff performs a background check on the buyer. That background check verifies the buyer does not have a criminal record or isn't otherwise ineligible to purchase or own a firearm. Since launching in 1998, more than 300 million checks have been done. 300 million. Leading to more than 1.5 million denials. I can tell you this right now, if you got a criminal background, you're not buying it legally. We all know this. Criminals do not buy guns legally. If they do, then I don't know what to say about that, but they're a bad criminal and they're bad at it. But then again, I guess if you get caught by the police, you're bad at being a criminal. So there you take that for what it's worth. But no, this is what happens when you buy your firearm. You go there, you go to the FFL place or to the FFL dealer, and they confirm that you did buy the firearm. But before they give you the firearm, you have to fill out the ATF form. Let's see what this does right here. Yep, you have to, here it goes. Let's enlarge this, shall we? Yep. This is in real time, people. Although it's not live, but it is in real time. Yes, this is the U.S. Department of Justice. This is what you fill out. All it is. All it is. All of this. All of that. See? All of that. So when people say that they don't do criminal background checks, they're full of BS. Now, in the state of Texas, when you want to sell, you can just sell someone a gun. But let's say if I want to sell a friend a gun, right? They want to buy a gun. They give them the money. I give them a gun. Boom. Transaction's done. However, that gun is still registered in your name. It still has your name on it because you bought it from a licensed dealer. So if that person goes and shoots up, I don't know, a church or whatever with it, it will come back on you. It'll definitely come back on them, but it's also going to come back on you because you sold that person the gun and they traced it back to you. Unless you, I'd say, get a bill of sale and do it that way. But, you know, you got to be careful with these kind of things because that's what happened in the other Texas shooting. I can't remember it. But that's what happened in that one Texas shooting. I think it was in Midland and or Odessa. But don't quote me on that. I don't remember all of that. But yes. So after you fill all of that form out and go through the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which they say doesn't exist apparently, and you come back that you are not a felon, that you have never been arrested, or you don't, you're not a danger to yourself or to the public, then you are granted your gun, and depending on where you buy your firearm at, depending on what state you buy your firearm at, they can make you wait a day, they can make you wait a couple of days, they can make you wait 10 days, they can make you wait for a little bit, or they can just give it to you that day. It just depends on that state or city or local municipality, whatever. It just depends on that. So, but this is what they're doing. And then now you have a gun buyback program is what they're gonna say is what they're gonna sponsor. Which let's go to an expensive firearm. Because they're not gonna give you what you bought for it. They're just not. They're gonna give you a flat rate, and whether you pay less or more, that's the rate that you're gonna get. See this gun right here, this is a Ruger 1911 Commander stainless steel 45 ACP, 7 rounds, $894, and that's without the tax. So with tax is usually what, 30 something dollars. Again, it depends on what your area is. It'll be around $900 something afterwards, 915 or 20, I don't know. So we can keep on going. It varies, $279, $549. Let's see. Let's get. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go by this price again, but let's change it to the more expensive. We change it up. Come on. There we go. Oh, okay, there we go. Now, this is a pistol, considered a pistol. I believe it might be considered an AR pistol, but it's chambered in 9mm. And look at the price. It is a whopping $11,773. I'm not paying that much for that gun, but some people will. Point is, when and if and when they do a buyback program, you're not going to get what you pay for it. For a gun like this, they'll probably give you $500. In other words, they're going to probably do like GameStop. GameStop, you buy a brand new console or brand new game. Let's say you buy a brand new $60, $70 game with all the trimmings on it, and you don't like it. Well, then you take it back or you sell it back to GameStop. And GameStop's like, I can do about $350. What you mean $350? Yeah, I can do about $350. Best I can do is $350. My Palm Stars voice. But this is what they're going to do. They're not going to give you this price. They're not. They're going to give you $500 for it probably, right? But you paid this much and a little bit more, plus magazines, ammo, all that. They're not going to give you that. They're not going to give you almost $5,000 for this Colt 1911 government black 38. Oh, I like this. This is nice. They're not going to give you that, though. They're not going to give you that much for that. Let's keep going. See, there are all these guns that are thousands of dollars. Yeah, they're not going to give you any of that. You're not going to get your money back for that. So you're going to be screwed. But this is what they do. So with this assault weapons ban, which again, I think is a stupid thing to call it an assault weapon because anything can be used as an assault weapon, but that's just my opinion. Or it might be a fact. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. This bill is sponsored by people who live in their ivory towers, who don't know anything or have not known anything about crime or being on the receiving end of a actual crime for a very long time. You ban all semi-automatic weapons. You ban all handguns. You ban the semi-automatic rifles. It will leave you with revolvers. And that's cool. I like revolvers. Revolvers are very dependable. So let's go to revolvers, shall we? But we're going to see what is exactly wrong, what I think is wrong with the revolver. Right? So this is a Smith & Wesson 38 Special, 568. It's expensive, but it's a nice gun. It is a nice piece of hardware. It has only 5 rounds. And you see by the barrel right here, I mean, not by the barrel, by the cylinder, or I forgot what that's called, 5 rounds. And anyone that knows how to load a revolver, you cannot load it like it's a semi-automatic because it doesn't have a magazine. Now, if you practice over time, you can get really fast at loading it, but you're still going to be slower than the magazine to an extent. Practice does make perfect, though, but whatever. But this is what's wrong with the revolver, in my opinion. Although like I said, I like the revolver. I just think that this is what's wrong with it. 5 rounds. Some hold 8 rounds, I believe, but that's what you're gonna get. And again, revolvers are very dependable. Just make sure you store them good, clean them good, just like any other weapon, right? This one has 6 rounds at 829. This is the Ruger. This one has 6 rounds. So, yes, again, this is what it is. But let's say you're walking to your car, or you're just walking in general, walking to your friend's house, right? You're going to go have a nice outing with your friend. And some guy comes up and tries to mug you. He brings out a gun, and you don't have a gun. Your only choice is you can fight back and risk getting shot, or you can let the person take your valuables, take your possessions, and still risk getting shot. Because some people will still shoot you, even when you comply. And that's a sad reality that we live in. So when the government is saying that they want to take all your weapons away, take your means of defending yourself, defending your family away, I have to wonder, what is their motive? What is their motivation? Because it's not in the best interest of the people. It's not to protect the people, because criminals are going to still get guns. People who don't want to obey the law are still going to get guns. That has been proven. Name a criminal who has followed the law, because they're a criminal. So I don't understand this. It's just, to me, it's an overreach of government power. And again, I don't think it's going to reach. I don't think it's going to be or pass the vote in the Senate. But again, there's always that possibility. So yeah, I don't understand it, but there's that. And for those that, again, you want to learn more about firearm safety, the YouTube channels that I recommend that helped me out were Hickok 45, cool dude, by the way. I like to watch his YouTube channel, watch his videos. Colin Noir, who's my favorite, actually. He's really good. He was also an ex-spokesman for the NRA. And you have Iraqi veteran 88, He does weapons testing and all that, ballistic gel, and all that kind of good stuff. And those are pretty good. Those are the only three that I know off top. There are plenty others that are really good. And if you're gonna buy a gun, do your research ahead of time on the firearm. YouTube it, look up the videos on it, all of that good stuff. So, but this is what they want, to disarm the American public. During the height of COVID in Australia, and Australia's disarmed for the most part. Their public is disarmed. So, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find. Let's go to YouTube, shall we? Because I sincerely hope I can find these videos. Because in the height of COVID, Australia went on lockdown. Their citizens went on lockdown, and they got put in concentration camps. Now, they don't call it concentration camps, but they are concentration camps because you can't leave. They're COVID camps. This was a real thing. Look it up. Don't just believe my word for it. Look it up. It is true. It is ridiculous. All right, let's see. Oh, it popped right up. Shall we?
All devices out of juice?
Oh my God. Okay, let me just look. I hate this. Okay, here we go.
For all staff in the international section of the Howard Springs Quarantine Centre, where repatriated Australians are being held.
So every single day, all of us, clinicians and on-ground support, meet in the morning and the afternoons and have regular training.
Proper use of PPE is a key feature of the centre's rigid infection control regime. Movement between areas is also strictly controlled.
When they go in, they
Strictly
actually do a
controlled.
photograph of themselves prior to entry. That's recorded so the entire site can see who's.
Keep in mind, the U.S. wasn't even like this when Ebola came to Texas. So just keep that in mind. I mean, Ebola, COVID. Ebola, COVID.
Entered and be what they were wearing.
There's also careful training on how to safely test the international arrivals, about 3% of whom have the virus, to make sure staff don't carry it out of the centre home, their biggest personal fear.
You go to the local supermarket and it is in the back of your mind, am I that person? And none of us want to be that person.
Since the UK strain came to Australia, measures have tightened further.
The practices we have changed have been the additional testing of staff every day.
One of the key ways that infection control is managed in the international side.
I'm just gonna say it's a concentration camp. You can't leave voluntarily. You're stuck there. And this is what went on in Australia. So yeah, that's what went on in Australia. Let's see. Not gonna, yeah. It's just one of those things. But when you have a population that has effectively been disarmed, then your government can do pretty much whatever the hell they want to do to you, which is why I like the United States so much, and which is why I like the state of Texas. But again, H.R.1808 has passed the House. It goes to vote in the Senate. I don't think it'll pass, but in the stranger offshoot that it does pass, I would say then there will be a civil war. Now, I'm not calling for one. I just think that'll be the catalyst of a civil war, because now you're really coming for the rights of the people. You're really coming for their constitutional rights to defend themselves, their God-given rights to defend themselves. So a lot of people thought that Roe v. Wade would be the catalyst. I didn't, because abortion is not a right. It's not a constitutional right. Look it up. Read the Constitution for yourselves. Read the Bill of Rights. All of that. It is not a constitutional right. I'm not saying I'm against it, or nor am I. The hell with it. I'm against abortion. It is what it is. So with that said, it is not a constitutional right. Yeah, do whatever you want with it. But with the right to defend yourself, the right to bear arms, that is a God-given right and a constitutional right that we have enshrined in our Constitution. And again, that is what I think would be the catalyst to a civil war. But then again, we're living in the last days anyway. So, but that's a whole another video about religion and about the book of Revelations and where we are now, which I might do. It just depends. And I'm not an expert on that. I'm not a pastor and I'm not a priest. I don't molest kids, but I'm not any of that stuff. So again, this is H.R. 1808. It has passed the House. It goes to the Senate for vote. And if it somehow passes the Senate, then the president signs it into law. If he chooses to sign it into law, or if he knows how to sign a bill into law. I don't know. But again, this is what it is. So yeah, educate yourselves. Do your research. Don't listen to just me. You see, I am certified. But no, seriously. Go and do your own research and just educate yourselves on firearms, because not everything that they're telling you is the truth, and this is what it is. All right, y'all have a great day. This has been another episode of the Honest Texan Podcast. Go check out the HonestTexan.com. That's AHONEZT. Yeah, Texas.com. Y'all have a great day.